I see you in the private moment you never describe. The hour is late, the house finally quiet, and you are still awake, not because you want entertainment, but because your chest will not unclench. Your jaw is locked like a gate. Your thoughts run circles around the same fear, the same responsibility, the same regret you keep swallowing like it is medicine. And sometimes it comes out as quiet tears you wipe before they can betray you. Sometimes it comes out as rage that never leaves the ribcage, a pressure you carry into work, into marriage, into fatherhood, into church, into every room where people expect you to be steady. If this is for you, or for the man you love who keeps saying he's fine, tap like so it reaches him, and stay with me to the end. Because I am not speaking to the version of you that performs. I am speaking to the man underneath the armor, the man who has been holding his breath for years. Hear me, the collapse you hide is not proof you are weak. It is proof you have been alone too long. I did not make you to break in secret. I did not design you for silent collapse. I did not form your soul to carry weight without witness, to bleed without language, to drown with a straight face. The place where you are cracking is not your identity. It is a signal. It is the alarm in your inner world saying, this was never meant to be carried by one man in the dark. You learned early that being needed felt safer than being known. You learned that if you could provide, fix, protect, and hold it together, no one would look too closely at your own trembling. So you became responsible for everyone. You became the dependable one, the strong one, the man people lean on. But you have also become the one who feels unsafe, being honest about his own pain because somewhere along the way you believed that if you admitted the weight, you would become a burden. And you told yourself, I cannot be a burden. You called that strength. But I call it isolation. And I am tender with you as I say it, because I know why you went silent. I know what it cost you to keep showing up while your inner world was begging to be heard. I know the dignity you are trying to protect. But listen to me. Your burden has meaning, but your loneliness is not the meaning. The pressure is not the purpose. The secrecy is not the calling. You are not holy because you suffer quietly. You are not noble because you never ask. You are not safer because you hide. I am calling you out of the secret breaking, not into humiliation, into light, not into exposure that crushes you, into truth that heals you. Because the moment you stop interpreting your breaking point as failure and start seeing it as evidence that you were made for shared strength, something in you will soften. And that softening is not weakness. That softening is the beginning of your return. You did not wake up one day and choose numbness. You were trained into it. You were praised for it. You were rewarded for it. You learned the commandments of manhood in the quiet places where no one called them commandments, but you obeyed them anyway. Be the rock. Don't need, don't ask, don't cry. Provide, protect, carry it, swallow it, keep moving. And when your heart rose up with a sentence like, I can't do this alone, you pushed it back down like it was disobedience. And you have been disappearing ever since. Not with your body. Your body shows up. Your hands work. Your mind solves. Your calendar fills. But your inner world has learned to go silent so you can keep functioning. And you call that strength. You call it handling it. You call it being responsible. But listen to me. What you have called responsibility has often been self-erasure. You became so committed to being useful that you slowly stopped being known. You became the man who can hold everyone else, but cannot bear the vulnerability of being held. And I see the cost you pretend you don't feel. I see the emotional numbness that comes like a fog where you are present but not alive. I see the short temper that surprises you because you are not angry at the moment, you are exhausted from years. I see the fatigue that sleep cannot cure because it is not only your body that is tired, it is your soul. I see the disconnection, how your wife can be beside you and still feel miles away, how your children can talk and you nod. But your heart is elsewhere, guarding, calculating, bracing. I see the friendships that stay shallow because you do not know how to be honest without feeling exposed. I see the spiritual dryness, the prayers that feel like they hit a ceiling, not because I left you, but because you have been trying to approach me the same way you approach everyone, composed, controlled, and alone. That is not strength, that is hardness. Strength in my kingdom is not the absence of need. Strength is the courage to bring what is true into the light. Strength is humility that says, I cannot carry this without God, and I will not pretend I can. Strength is connection. Strength is confession without drama, honesty without self-pity, the steady willingness to be seen. Hardness is a cage you call protection. It keeps pain contained, but it also keeps love out. It keeps you together, but it also keeps you unreachable. And I am not condemning you for building the cage. I know when you built it. I know why you built it. Some of you learned early that your tenderness was not safe. Some of you were punished for tears, mocked for fear, ignored in need. So you made a vow without words. I will not require anything from anyone. And that vow became your brand of strength. But the silence you live in is not random. It is a pattern, and every pattern has a root. Stay with me, because I am about to show you what has been ruling you beneath the surface, and I will not expose you to shame you. I will expose you to heal you. What if I told you that the silent burden you carry is not only pressure, it is a language your soul is speaking? You have called it stress. You have called it just life. You have called it weakness, and told yourself to get over it. But I tell you, none of it is random. The tightening in your chest, the restless nights, the impatience that rises too fast, the numbness that creeps in when you finally sit still, these are not proofs that you are broken beyond repair. They are signals. They are messages from the places in you that have been faithful enough to keep functioning, but honest enough to keep warning you. Listen to me, and I will name the language with you. That irritability you hate in yourself is often overload, too many needs, too many expectations, too many unspoken fears pressed into one body. That withdrawal, that disappearing behind silence, behind work, behind a screen, behind the garage, behind the "I'm fine," is often not arrogance. It is fear. Fear that if you speak, you will become a burden. Fear that your needs will disrupt the image you have worked so hard to maintain. That overworking you justify as provision is often numbness, wearing a uniform. It is movement, so you do not have to feel. And those secret habits you return to when the day is done, those small escapes, those hidden indulgences, those private spirals, are not simply a lack of willpower. Many of you have been using them as anesthesia, because pain without language will always look for relief. Before you call yourself a failure, listen. Before you punish yourself with shame, listen. Before you self-medicate, listen. Because condemnation makes you deaf. And when you cannot hear what is happening inside you, you will keep treating symptoms as if they are the enemy, while the true wound remains untouched. And hear me clearly, the shadow in you is not evil by default. The shadow is often the part of you that formed in the dark, not to destroy you, but to protect you. It is the unprocessed grief you never had permission to feel. It is the anger you swallowed because you had to be the good son. It is the fear you buried because men around you taught you that fear was shameful. It is the tenderness you locked away because it once cost you something. This is not darkness that proves you are wicked. It is pain that proves you were human in places you were forced to ignore. So come closer. Let your burden speak in my presence. Do not rush to fix it. Do not rush to explain it away. Ask me, what is this trying to tell me? And I will show you. Because once you hear the language, you can trace the source. Once you stop condemning and start listening with me, the weight becomes a map. And I do not reveal maps to mock you. I reveal them to lead you out. You have begun to hear the language of the weight, and now I will show you the root that has been feeding it. Because many of you have mistaken your constant carrying for love. You call it devotion. You call it leadership. You call it being a good man. But listen, your need to carry everyone is not always love. Many times, it is fear wearing a crown, sitting on the throne of your decisions, commanding you to stay composed, commanding you to stay needed, commanding you to stay silent. There is a vow beneath your provider mask, a sentence you have lived by even if you never spoke it out loud. If I don't hold it together, everything falls apart. And that vow has made you a prisoner of your own reliability. You cannot rest because you believe rest is irresponsibility. You cannot confess because you believe confession is collapse. You cannot say, I am not okay, because you believe those words would start a chain reaction. Disappointment, loss of respect, rejection, the feeling that you have failed the people who depend on you. I know the fears you don't want to name. Fear that if you show weakness, you will be treated as less of a man. Fear that if you ask for help, you will be exposed as inadequate. Fear that if you admit you are tired, someone will call you selfish. Fear that if you cannot provide at the level you promised, love will be withdrawn. And yes, fear that you have failed me. Fear that if you are struggling, you are disqualified. So you keep your pain hidden and you keep your hands busy, because busyness lets you avoid the one thing that terrifies you, vulnerability. But hear me, carrying everything is not the same as leading. Control is not the same as courage. When you insist on holding every piece, every emotion, every crisis alone, it is often not because you are strong, but because you are trying to stay safe. You are trying to prevent the moment where someone sees the trembling in you and decides you are not worthy of trust. So you grip harder, you manage more, you swallow more. You become the dam, and you call it love. And I am gentle with you as I confront it, because I know shame has been whispering to you. Shame has told you, if you need help, you are a burden. Shame has told you, if you are hurting, you are unfit. Shame has told you, if you are not the answer, you are the problem. So you don't ask, not because you don't need, but because you believe your need disqualifies you. But the heart cannot lead well while it is starving. You cannot pour patience from an empty spirit. You cannot love steadily while your inner world is neglected. You cannot be present while your soul is bracing for collapse. This is why I am uncovering the root, not to shame you for the crown you have worn, but to remove it. Because fear cannot be your king and peace at the same time. And I did not call you to be a lone pillar until you crack. I called you to be a son who trusts me enough to be seen, and a brother humble enough to be carried when you are tired. I see the weight you do not say out loud. I see the numbers you keep running in your head, what comes in, what goes out, what you fear is coming, what you are trying to prevent. I see the pressure of provision that follows you into every room, even when you smile. I see the fatigue of leadership, making decisions, carrying consequences, holding your face steady while your inner world is begging to sit down. I see the expectations you think you must meet spiritually, the silent performance that says, I must be strong and faithful and unshakable, even when you feel dry, even when prayer feels like words in the air. And I see the desires you have been afraid to bring into my light, not only desire for sex, but desire to be wanted, desire to be touched without having to earn it, desire to feel alive instead of responsible. I see the frustration you swallow when your body is loud and your life is heavy. I see the loneliness that makes you hungry for anything that feels like comfort. I see the regret you rehearse at night, what you should have done, what you said wrong, what you didn't protect, what you can't fix now. I see the grief you never finished because you had to keep moving. I see the father wound you keep calling motivation, the old ache that still whispers, if I am not impressive, I am not safe. If I am not useful, I am not loved. And because you do not know how to name all of that, you look for relief. You look for an off switch. You look for a door out of your own chest. So you scroll until your mind goes numb. You drink until the edge softens. You gamble because for a moment you feel control or thrill instead of pressure. You flirt because being desired feels like oxygen. You fantasize because it is easier than being present. You hide in pornography because it asks nothing from you but time. And for a moment it feels like silence inside. Then it ends, and shame arrives like a second weight. Then you promise yourself you will never do it again, and you carry that promise like a chain. Then the stress returns, and the cycle quietly repeats. Hear me, you are not a monster. You are a man trying to numb what you do not know how to name. And I am not shocked by the places you escape. I have been watching you reach for relief the way a drowning man reaches for air. But I am calling you out of hiding and into healing, because relief without truth will always become bondage. So tell me the truth, not the cleaned up version, not the version that sounds holy. Tell me what you use to escape. Tell me what you reach for when you cannot bear your own thoughts. Tell me where you go in secret. I already know, but I am asking because confession is the first crack in the prison door. I do not uncover you to humiliate you. I uncover you to free you. Bring it into my light, and you will find that my light does not crush your dignity, it restores it. And now, I will correct what has been twisted in you by fear and by religion without tenderness, because some of you have taken holy words and used them as a weapon against your own soul. You have read of sacrifice, and you concluded that I required your quiet disappearance. You have heard, lay down your life, and you translated it as, lay down your voice. You have heard, be the head, and you translated it as, never have a need. But hear me, Ephesians 5 was never a license to die quietly. Look at my son. He loved with a cross-shaped love, yes. He gave himself, yes. But he did not perform strength the way you have been performing it. He prayed. He withdrew. He slept in storms. He wept at graves. He asked for fellowship. In Gethsemane, the night when the weight was heaviest, he did not pretend. He said, "My soul is overwhelmed," and he did not say it into empty air. He brought close friends near and said, "Stay here, watch with me. This is not weakness. This is the pattern of heaven. This is what love looks like when it is pure, sacrificial, but not secretive, responsible, but not isolated." So I say to you, servant leadership is not self-destruction. You do not become more holy by refusing help. You do not become more masculine by bleeding in silence. You do not become more faithful by making your wife and children live beside a man who is present in body but buried in spirit. I did not ask you to carry the weight alone, so you could call it obedience. I asked you to love, and love tells the truth. Love does not hide until it collapses, and then call it providing. Here is the counterfeit you have been living under. You think being the man of God means you never need support. You think spiritual headship means you are the last one allowed to tremble. You think repentance is only for scandal, not for exhaustion. You think confession is something other men do, weaker men, messier men, while you keep your image clean and your soul cramped. But I tell you, humility is not a threat to your authority, it is the root of it. A man who can repent is safer than a man who can only perform. A man who can receive care is stronger than a man who can only give it. So let me redefine you. Headship is not domination, and it is not denial. It is responsibility under my covering. It is a man led by me before he tries to lead anyone else. It is a man who can say, "I am struggling," and not confuse that sentence with failure. It is a man who brings his temptations into the light early, not after they grow teeth in the dark. It is a man who seeks counsel, invites accountability, and lets his strength have a voice. And here the bridge I am placing before you. To lead your home, you must first be led by me out of isolation. You cannot guide others into peace while you are partnered with secrecy. Come to me, and I will not strip your dignity. I will restore it. Let me shepherd you through truth, through prayer, and through the right people, because my design was never a lone man dying quietly. My design was a son walking in light, and a household blessed because their leader finally stopped pretending he was made of stone. And now I will tell you what happens when you keep refusing help, not because you are evil, but because you are human, and you are tired, and you are trying to survive with a strategy I never gave you. You think silence keeps you safe. You think if you can just hold the line, if you can just get through this season, if you can just keep your mouth shut and your face steady, you will protect what matters. But hear me. When you refuse help, you do not become noble. You become vulnerable in the wrong places. It starts the way you have been calling just stress, unspoken pressure in your chest, a mind that will not turn off, the constant calculation of provision, performance, responsibility. Then you go numb because feeling everything would break you. Then the numbness turns into irritability because what you will not grieve becomes edge, and what you will not name becomes anger. Then you grow distant not because you don't love them, but because closeness requires presence, and presence requires honesty, and honesty feels like risk. So you retreat into work, into silence, into the phone, into the garage, into the blank stare that says, "I'm here," while your soul is somewhere else. And if it stays hidden, it does not stay neutral. The ache looks for a voice, the hunger looks for a table, the pain looks for relief. This is how secret sin is born. Not always from lust first, but from loneliness. Not always from rebellion, but from exhaustion. Not always from desire, but from the desperate need to feel something besides weight. You reach for what is easy, what is quick, what does not ask you to be known, and for a moment it quiets the noise. Then it leaves you with more shame than you started with, and now you have two burdens, the original pain and the secret you're protecting. I will speak the principle you keep resisting. Isolation makes temptation louder. Secrecy makes shame stronger. When you are alone with your thoughts, the enemy does not have to invent new lies. He only has to amplify the ones you already believe. You can't tell anyone. No one will understand. You'll lose respect. Handle it like a man. And you have called that voice discipline when it is actually a trap. And I want you to see what your family feels without blaming you. They feel your absence, even when your shoes are by the door and your body is on the couch. They feel the way your eyes don't rest. They feel the way your laughter is thinned. They learn to tiptoe around your tension. They start carrying questions they cannot name. Did I do something? Why is he far? Why does love feel heavy? You are trying to protect them with secrecy, but secrecy does not protect love. Secrecy starves it. So hear my tenderness and my urgency together. I will not let you keep calling this just stress while your soul fractures. I will not applaud your endurance while it quietly becomes self-destruction. I am not impressed by the man who can bleed privately. I am coming for you, not to expose you to shame, but to pull you out before the wrong relief becomes your master. There is a better way, and it is not complicated, but it will require humility. I designed burdens to be shared. I designed the light to be healing. I designed safe community, wise counsel, and brotherhood as protection for the man who is carrying too much. Secrecy doesn't protect you. It positions your pain to find relief in the wrong places. Bring the weight into my light, and I will show you how to place it into the right hands. Now hear my strategy against your isolation, because I do not diagnose you without also giving you a way out. I did not leave you with a command to try harder. I gave you a design. I wrote it plainly. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. And I did not say that to decorate a wall. I said it because I know what happens to a man who carries everything in silence. I know what secrecy does to your nervous system, to your spirit, to your home. So I gave you community as protection. I gave you shared weight as medicine. I gave you brotherhood, counsel, and safe witness as part of your obedience, not as an optional upgrade for the weak. But you have confused burdens with responsibilities, and that confusion has been costing you. There are responsibilities I have given you to steward decisions you must make, work you must do, promises you must keep. That is part of your maturity. But burdens are different. Burdens are the weights that crush your breath, the thoughts that circle at night, the shame that isolates you, the temptation that grows loud when you are alone, the grief that has nowhere to go, the fear you keep swallowing so no one sees you tremble. Those are not meant to be carried in a closed room by one man with his jaw clenched. Those are meant to be brought into light, into prayer, into wise counsel, into trusted community, because I did not design healing to happen only in secrecy. I designed healing to happen in truth. So I am correcting you gently. Asking for help is not weakness. It is obedience to the way I built you. It is faith that my provision can come through people, not just through your private endurance. You have been acting as if the most honorable thing you can do is suffer quietly. But in my kingdom, the honorable thing is to come into the light before you collapse, to let someone hold a corner of the weight while you learn to breathe again. And I am not telling you to tell everyone. I am telling you to choose one safe person. One, a mature friend who will not gossip, a pastor who has integrity, a counselor who is wise, a mentor who has walked through fire and did not become cruel. And you will name one real burden, not 10, not a whole life story, one true weight you have been hiding. Because the enemy does not need you to be destroyed all at once. He only needs you to stay silent. And I am breaking that spell with one sentence. So here are the words, because I know the first sentence is the hardest. Say, I need to tell you something I've been carrying alone, and I don't want to do that anymore. Or say, I'm not okay, and I'm ready to bring this into the light. Or say, I've been overwhelmed, and I've been ashamed to admit it. Can you help me take a step? This is not you falling apart. This is you stepping into my design. This is you fulfilling the law of Christ. This is you letting my strength have a voice through shared burdens, through honest language, through light that heals. Now, I will teach you how to speak without feeling like you are falling apart, because the enemy has trained you to believe that if you open your mouth, you will unravel. But listen to me. You are not a dam made to hold forever. You are a man with a soul, and your soul has been begging for one honest sentence, not a speech, not a breakdown, not a dramatic confession, one sentence that breaks the spell of secrecy. Start smaller than your fear demands. Start with what is true, even if it is not polished. Say, I'm not okay, and I don't know how to say it. Say, I've been overwhelmed, and I need prayer. Say, I'm carrying something alone, and I don't want to anymore. Say, I need accountability, because I don't trust what isolation is doing to me. Say, I'm exhausted, and I'm afraid I'm going to fail if I keep pretending. These are not weak sentences. These are doorway sentences. They do not humiliate you, they locate you. And I will make you more specific because vagueness is where you hide even while you speak. Do not only say, it's been hard. Name the feeling and name the fear. Say, I feel overwhelmed, and I'm afraid I'm letting everyone down. Say, I feel ashamed, and I'm scared you'll see me differently. Say, I feel angry, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I don't want it to poison my home. Say, I feel numb, and I'm afraid I'm disappearing. When you name the feeling, you stop fighting a shadow. When you name the fear, you stop being ruled by it in secret. And hear me, wisdom is part of strength. I am not calling you to overshare with unsafe people. I am not calling you to bleed in front of those who mock tenderness. You can be honest without giving your whole story to someone who has not earned it. You can say, I'm not ready to share every detail, but I need support. You can say, can you pray with me and check on me this week? You can say, I need help taking a next step and I want discretion. This is not hiding, this is stewardship. This is you choosing light with boundaries, truth with discernment. And I know the fear underneath all of it. If I tell the truth, I will lose respect. But listen, only performative systems punish honesty. Only immature hearts confuse vulnerability with incompetence. The right people will respect you more, not less, because they will feel the difference between a man protecting an image and a man protecting his soul. The right people do not ask you to be invincible. They ask you to be real. And if someone tries to make your honesty a weapon against you, that is not proof you should return to silence. That is proof you chose the wrong ear. I will give you the right ones. So come into the light with me. Confession is not humiliation, it is a doorway. It is the first hinge that swings open. It is the moment you stop calling secrecy strength and start calling truth freedom. Speak one sentence to the right person, and you will feel it. The spell breaks, the room inside you gets air again, and the weight that has been crushing you begins to move out of your chest, and into my hands, and into the shared grace I prepared for you. Now listen to me, because after that first sentence, something in you will still try to bargain. You will be tempted to say, good, I admitted it. Now, let me go back to pushing. You will want to return to the old altar where you prove your worth by endurance. But I am telling you plainly, the man you're trying to be is not the man I'm forming. The version of you built out of clenched jaw and constant control may look impressive to people, but it is starving your soul. And you have called that starvation discipline, when it has been fear dressed as maturity. You have been living as if your value is measured by how well you hold everything together, as if being respected means never trembling, as if love must be earned through performance. But I did not name you beloved after you succeeded. I named you beloved before you knew how to stand. I did not adopt you because you were useful. I adopted you because I wanted you. You are not valuable because you carry weight. You are valuable because you are mine. And when you forget that, you start building your identity on pressure, and pressure is a cruel god. It always asks for more and never tells you you are enough. So I will reframe what you have been calling stress. The pressure you feel is not only a sign that you have too much to do, it is a revelation of where you have been living without grace. It is the indicator light on the dashboard of your inner life, telling you, you have been driving on empty and calling it strength. You have been functioning, yes. Providing, yes. Showing up, yes. But you have been doing it while disconnected from your own needs, from safe people, and from me as your true source. And now your body, your mind, your spirit are speaking, not to shame you, but to bring you back to alignment. And hear this mystery, because it will save you from condemning your own collapse. What feels like breaking is often the beginning of truth. There is a descent before transformation. There is a holy uncovering that happens when the old coping finally fails. You think you are falling apart, but I say you are being interrupted. You think you are losing control, but I say you are being invited into surrender. The man of stone cannot be healed, because stone does not weep. But the sun can be rebuilt, because the sun can finally tell the truth. So, stop negotiating with collapse. Stop waiting until the wait becomes an emergency. Stop promising yourself, after this season, I'll deal with it, as if your soul is a machine you can service later. Bring it into the light with me now. Bring me the real condition of your inner world, not the edited version. Say, Father, I am tired. Say, Father, I am afraid. Say, Father, I cannot keep proving myself like this. And let that surrender be worship, because in my kingdom, surrender is not quitting, it is returning to the source. And this is the turning you have been needing. I am not asking you to push harder. I am asking you to let me rebuild you from the inside out. Not just your behavior, but your identity. Not just your habits, but your hidden vows. Not just your outward life, but the places you have been surviving instead of living. Because now we are going to heal you, mind, body, and spirit, so your strength is no longer a mask, but a home. Now, as I rebuild you, I must go deeper than your schedule and deeper than your habits, because the weight you carry did not begin this morning. It has a history, and if you only adjust the outside while the inside remains wounded, you will keep leaking pain onto the people you love. Hear me. Healing your inner world does not make you softer in a dangerous way, it makes you safer. It makes your love steady instead of strained, present instead of performative, strong without being sharp. Some of you learned silence in the house you grew up in, an absent father who left you to interpret manhood without a map, a harsh father whose approval was a moving target, whose correction felt like rejection, early responsibility that made you the strong one before you were ready, the peacemaker, the provider, the fixer, betrayal that taught you, don't trust anyone with your real heart, unprocessed grief that you buried because nobody had time for your tears, and spiritual disappointment prayers you prayed that seemed unanswered, losses you could not explain, moments you quietly concluded, I must handle this myself. And now you are older, but that vow is still speaking. So you wonder why anger rises so fast. You wonder why little things feel like threats. But I tell you, anger is often grief with armor. It is sorrow that never found language, pain that never felt safe, disappointment that was never allowed to be held. And numbness, listen to me, numbness is not peace. Numbness is often fear of feeling too much, fear that if you open the door you will drown, fear that tenderness will take you down, so you shut off. You function, you provide, you smile, but your soul goes quiet, and your family feels the distance even when you are standing in the room. Let me show you where you first learned to go silent. Let me take you back not to shame you, but to heal you, because I do not only want you managing symptoms, I want you free at the root. Bring me the memory you keep stepping around. Bring me the moment you decided, no one is coming. The moment you decided, my needs are dangerous. The moment you decided, my feelings are a liability. I will meet you there, and I will speak truth into the place where you learned counterfeit strength. And I will also give you practices, because love needs structure, not just intention. Write to me journaling prayers that tell the whole truth, not the religious version. Let your pen name what your mouth has avoided. Sit with wise counsel. Counseling and therapy are not a denial of faith. They are one of the ways I heal what has been knotted for years. Enter a men's group where you can be known without performing, where your story can be witnessed and your patterns can be challenged with compassion. Establish accountability rhythms. One call a week, one honest check-in, one question you answer without hiding. And return to Sabbath rest, because you cannot heal while you are always braced. Rest is not laziness. Rest is trust. And as you do this, you will notice something holy. Your relationships will change. You will not be as reactive. You will not disappear as often. You will listen without defending. You will apologize without collapse. You will lead without fear wearing a crown. Because when your wounds are tended, your love becomes steady. And steadiness is one of the greatest gifts you can give the people I entrusted to you. And now I speak to the wife, the mother, the sister, the friend who has been watching a man you love carry weight in ways he does not know how to name. You feel it before he admits it. You hear it in the silence that lasts too long. You see it in the eyes that do not rest. You sense the mood shifts, the shutdowns, the irritation that arrives like a storm from a sky that looked clear. And sometimes you have wondered if you are imagining it, because he still goes to work, still provides, still shows up in the outer life. But I tell you, you are not crazy. Discernment is not suspicion. Love notices. And I honor your compassion, because you have tried to make a home safe enough for him to breathe. But hear me with tenderness and firmness. You are not his savior. You were never meant to be. If you try to become the one who carries what he refuses to carry in truth, you will become exhausted, resentful, and quietly afraid. Compassion that covers secrecy is not love, it is fear wearing mercy's clothing. I did not call you to manage his pain for him. I called you to stand in the light and invite him there with you. So this is the frame. Support without enabling, presence without pretending, prayer without denial. You can be gentle and still be clear. You can be loyal and still require honesty. You can say, I'm with you, without saying, I will hide this for you, because love does not protect darkness. Love protects healing. Here are words you can speak that do not accuse, but do not disappear. Say, I love you, and I can feel you pulling away. I'm with you, but I won't pretend you're okay. Say, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be honest. Say, let's get help together counseling, a pastor, a trusted friend, because we will not let silence eat you alive. Say, I will support you, but I will not lie to myself or to you about what this is doing. And if he minimizes, you can still stay steady. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to fight for you. And secrecy is not strength. Pray, yes. Cover him, yes. But set boundaries that protect what is holy. Require accountability where trust has been strained. Do not become the detective, and do not become the excuse. Bring concerns into my presence, and bring him toward wise community, because isolation is where the wound grows teeth. And hear me as I bridge back to him. This is not an attack on your manhood. This is a rescue of your soul. The ones who love you are not your enemy when they refuse to agree with your silence. They are answering my call. They are helping you step into the light where dignity is restored, not destroyed. And now I turn back to you, son, because you have heard the invitation and you still feel the reflex to retreat. You still feel the old instinct to handle it alone, to make your face steady, to let time swallow what your heart cannot carry. But listen to me. Isolation is not a neutral space. It is contested ground. When you choose to be alone with your burden, you are not only choosing quiet, you are stepping onto a battlefield without armor. The enemy does not waste his sharpest arrows on men who are surrounded. He aims for the lone one. He aims for the man who will not be known. He aims for the one who believes, if I tell the truth, I will be less. And he will use the same 4 languages again and again. Shame that says you are filthy. Lust that offers a false comfort. Despair that whispers you will never change. And burnout that drains you until you cannot pray without feeling numb. None of it begins loud. It begins with you disappearing. It begins with you avoiding a call, skipping the gathering, staying busy, and calling it peace when it is actually retreat. So I am calling you back into brotherhood, not as a social hobby, but as protection. There are men I have assigned to your life as covering men who can pray when your mouth goes quiet, men who can check on you when you start drifting, men who can look you in the eye and say, I love you too much to let you lie. Not men who will shame you, not men who will expose you, but men who will hold truth with gentleness and confrontation with loyalty and accountability with honor. This is not you being babysat. This is you being shielded. This is how I keep sons from collapsing in secret. And I know what pride tells you. It tells you that you must be impressive to be covered. It tells you that you must have the testimony after the victory, not the cry in the middle of the fight. But hear me, you do not need to be impressive to be protected. You need to be present. You need to be honest. You need to show up while you are still in process, because process is where covering is most necessary. So I will make it practical, because obedience must have feet. Choose a place and commit. Join the men's group at your church. Join a recovery group where secrecy dies and truth lives. Ask for a mentor, an older man with humility, not hype. Find one brother who is steady and mature, and set a weekly check-in. And then give me 90 days of consistent connection, not when you feel like it, not when you are already strong, but as a covenant against isolation. 90 days where you stop disappearing. 90 days where you let someone ask you real questions. 90 days where you let prayer and presence become the new normal. Because the connection you avoid may be the very covering I prepared to keep you from collapsing. And now, I am bringing you to a decisive moment inside your own spirit. Before you call a man, before you join a room, you will speak to me. You will make an inner vow of honesty in my presence. Not a vow to perform, not a vow to never struggle. A vow to step into the light when you are tempted to hide. And as you do, You will feel it, the air returning to your chest, the spell weakening, the weight beginning to shift, because I do not heal you by making you tougher. I heal you by making you known. And now, son, we touch the root. Because beneath the missed calls and the clenched jaw and the private spirals, there is a sentence you have lived by like a law, a vow you made when you were tired, a vow you made when you were young, a vow you made when you were hurt and nobody knew what to do with your need. And the vow sounds simple, but it has governed you. I have to handle this alone. Hear me, that vow is not strength. It is a contract with isolation. It is an agreement with shame. It is performance disguised as responsibility. And today I am giving you permission, and I am giving you power to cancel it. Not tomorrow when you feel brave. Not later when the crisis forces you. Today, while your dignity is still intact, while your heart can still soften, while you can still choose light before darkness chooses for you. So speak this with me, not as a ritual, but as a turning of your will. Father, I renounce the vow that says I must suffer in silence. I renounce the lie that says my worth is proven by carrying more than I can bear. I renounce the fear that says if I am honest, I will be rejected. I renounce the shame that keeps me performing. I renounce secret coping, hidden scrolling, hidden drinking, hidden lust, hidden fantasies, hidden withdrawal, hidden anger, anything I use to numb what I am afraid to name. I renounce harshness that leaks onto the people I love. I renounce the pride that refuses help. I break agreement with isolation in my name, and I step into the light. And now I replace it with truth, because empty hands must be filled with what is holy. I am a son before I am a provider. I am loved before I am useful. I can ask for help without losing honor. I can be honest without being unsafe. I can be covered. I can be corrected. I can be held. I am not disqualified because I am in process. I am being formed. I am being rebuilt. And my strength in you will not be mute, it will have language. And yes, where repentance is needed, bring it to me cleanly. Do not drown in self-hatred, come into agreement with truth. If you have hidden and lied, confess it to me. If you have been sharp, repent to me and make it right with them. If you have escaped instead of facing what is real, bring that pattern into my light. I am not exposing you to crush you. I am uncovering you to heal you. Now I give you a new rule of life, because freedom needs structure. Tonight, you will honor sleep as trust. Tomorrow, you will pray before you perform 5 honest minutes, not religious theater. You will take scripture like bread, not like a trophy, 1 passage you obey, not 10 you admire. You will move your body, because I made you integrated. Walk, lift, stretch, sweat, and let stress leave you lawfully. You will enter community weekly, not occasionally. You will choose accountability, 1 man, 1 check-in, 1 place where secrecy cannot survive, and you will set boundaries. Work will not devour your soul, and devices will not disciple your mind in the dark. You will stop scrolling when your spirit is tired. You will stop answering everything as if you are the savior. You will learn to say no without guilt, because I am God and you are not. This is the turning point. The vow is broken. The light is chosen. And now, you are ready not just to hear my voice, but to let my voice become action in you. So come with me into prayer, and let what you have renounced become what you release, and let what you have received become what you declare. Father, now we pray, not as performance, not as religious theater, but as a son coming into your presence with the truth he has avoided. And I ask you bring the hidden weight into the light without crushing his dignity. Expose what is concealed, yes, but do it with mercy. Reveal what is lodged under his silence, those unspoken fears, those private spirals, those patterns he cannot name without shame, and let your kindness lead him, not your terror. Let conviction come clean, like water, not like humiliation. Let what is hidden be uncovered in a way that heals, not in a way that shatters. Because you are not a father who embarrasses his sons, you are a father who restores them. And I speak to his nervous system, because his body has been carrying what his mouth would not say. Peace, come. Rest, come. Let anxiety loosen its grip. Let the late-night loop break. Let insomnia lose its authority. Let the fog lift clarity over his thoughts, steadiness in his emotions, breath returning to his chest. Where he is shut down to survive, soften him without making him feel unsafe. Where he has lived, braced for impact, teach his muscles what safety feels like in your presence. Let him feel, even now, that he is not alone in the room. And Father, give him confession with covering, not exposure to the wrong ears, but connection to the right ones. Send the mentor with integrity. Send the brother who will not gossip. Send the counselor who is wise and unafraid of the dark. Give him timing, give him language, give him the first sentence again when fear rises in his throat. Put courage in his mouth and humility in his steps. Let him reach out before the breaking point. Let him ask for prayer before he asks for escape. Let him choose light early. And I pray over his home, over his wife, his children, his relationships. Guard them from bitterness. Heal the conversations that have been avoided. Give them words that do not wound, truth that does not accuse, listening that does not defend. Restore intimacy and trust where secrecy has strained it. Teach him to lead without disappearing, to love without numbness, to apologize without collapsing, to be present without pretending. Let this home become a place where truth can breathe. Now, my son, stay here with me, because prayer opens the door, and the next thing you will do is speak. You will declare what I say about you aloud, and you will let your mouth agree with freedom. Now speak with me, because I am not only healing you in silence, I am teaching your mouth to agree with freedom. There is a war that has been fought over your voice. Shame has tried to train you to swallow truth. Pride has tried to train you to perform. Fear has tried to train you to disappear. But I am giving you language again, because secrecy is not strength, and strength in my kingdom is not mute. So repeat after me, slowly, like a man returning to his own name. Say, I am not alone. Say it again, I am not alone, because I have been with you in the room you thought was empty, and I have been near you in the nights you could not explain. Say, I am not disqualified. Say it again, I am not disqualified. Your struggle has not surprised me. Your tears have not offended me. Your need has not disqualified you. Your hiding has only delayed your comfort. Say, I will ask for help. Say, I will ask for help. Because asking is not failing. Asking is faith. Asking is humility. Asking is you refusing to die quietly. Now say, I will live in the light. Say, I will live in the light. Not in exposure, not in chaos, not in reckless confession, but in honest connection, in wise covering, in truth that can breathe. And say this, my strength will have a voice. My strength will have a voice. I will not be strong by disappearing. I will be strong by telling the truth with me. And now declare your identity, because I am not rebuilding you as a machine. I am restoring you as a son. Say, I am a beloved son, not a machine. Say, I am a beloved son, not a machine. Say, I can be strong and honest. Say, I can be strong and honest. I can lead and be known. I can provide and still receive. I can protect my family without poisoning myself. I can be dignified and still be vulnerable. I do not have to choose between courage and tenderness, because in me they belong together. And now I put obedience in your mouth, because declarations without steps become another performance. Say, this week I will tell one safe person the truth about my burden. Say it plainly. This week I will tell one safe person the truth about my burden. I will not wait for the breaking point. I will not wait for the next spiral. I will speak early. I will choose covering. I will let the weight move out of my chest and into the light, where it can be carried with me and with the people I have assigned to my healing. And if you are watching this, I want you to seal it in public agreement, not for attention, but for accountability in your own spirit. Write this where you can see it, and let your hands agree with your mouth. I will not break in secret. God is giving me strength to speak. Let that sentence be your stake in the ground. Let it be your interruption when the old vow tries to return. Now I bless you, son. I bless your voice with courage. I bless your heart with softness that is not fear. I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your body with peace. I bless your steps with wisdom, right timing, right person, right words. And I bless your home with truth that heals, not truth that accuses. Go now, one honest step at a time. Do not rush. Do not retreat. Walk into the light, and I will meet you there. Now hear me as I seal this over you. I did not make you to break in secret. I did not form you to carry pain like a private sentence you must serve alone. I made you for truth, for love that can breathe, for enduring strength that does not require you to disappear. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, still feeling the ache, still wanting to be free, is proof that I am not finished with you. The collapse you hid is not your name. The silence you perfected is not your calling. You were made to stand in the light. So I bless the next step, because the next step is where freedom becomes flesh. I bless the conversation you have been rehearsing in fear. I bless your mouth with courage and your heart with steadiness. I bless you with favor with the right people, safe covering, wise counsel, brotherhood that protects instead of exposes. And I bless you with protection from relapse into isolation. When the old vow whispers, "Go quiet," I will remind you, "Come closer." When shame says, "Hide," I will say, "Come into the light." And when you take that one honest step, I will meet you there. Now go, son. Do not wait for a crisis to give you permission. Your next honest step is holy, walk it out. And if you are choosing the light, subscribe for more messages that strengthen men and restore families, and share this with one man who needs permission to speak. And if you want prayer, write, "Pray for me," and the burden you're carrying in a few words, and let your first sentence be the beginning of your healing.